Hi everybody, it's Armin. Today we're going to be doing a video on how to bleed your coolant system on your NC Miata. So this is a common thing that comes up where people have trouble, so I have our tried and true method that I'm going to be going over today. It's best that you have your AC system already charged, or if you have another means of turning the fan on the car as well, that'll help you out. Or if you just have a giant fan you can stick in front of it. We'll get to that in a little bit. First thing is we have an empty system. This is a new motor. If you guys know this car just started recently, so it hasn't had the coolant filled yet. We're going to go ahead and fill it up. What I'm going to be doing is I have my snap-on coolant vacuum filler here. I use the snap-on one. If you're a DIY person at the house, you don't need to invest in one of these, but if you're a technician, I'd strongly suggest it. These pull a stronger vacuum faster than anything else. They save a good bit of time, and they help quite a bit. Okay, so I have over here our 50-50 mix of green coolant. The way the vacuum filler works is we're going to be hooking up our shop air supply. We're going to be pulling the vacuum on the system. So first let's go ahead and close both valves on here. Let's hook up the air line. And we're going to pull this vacuum until it gets down to the green area, and you'll witness a couple of the hoses, if you can see them from where the camera is, you'll witness a couple of the hoses start to shrink down. So let's run that real quick. So it looks like we've about maxed out our vacuum meter here. We're sitting at close to 23 psi, and this is a good point at which we should check for leaks. And it actually looks like I may have one. So it's time for me to check and find out where that is before we can actually fill. But all you do is you shut this valve, and the value should stay exactly where it is. And since mine is not, time to investigate where my leak is. Okay, easy enough leak to fix. It was just this guy up here. I changed it out for the bypass hose from the thermostat to the heater core directly, and the stock clamp, the constant tension clamp, was not able to squeeze down tight enough, so put a worm gear on it now. Now let's try again. I'm going to go ahead and pull this down. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop there. It looks like we've got just a little past 25, what is that, 25 inches of mercury in vacuum. Like yeah, it's just about past 25. So now, next important thing we're going to do is we're going to lift the front end of the car up as high as we can go. What I've done is I got my lift here, and I've got the two front arms straight inward on the pinch welds where the lifting points are. I've got the e-brake released, and I've got the rear arms out. I've got one rear arm out of the way. Let me get the other one. And let's lift this thing up. So if you don't have a lift, then just go ahead and grab yourself your two tallest jack stands. I usually use the 6 tons if I'm over by one of the bay doors and the lifts are occupied. I'll use my 6-ton jack stands. I'll get them as high as possible, preferably full extension, to get this nose way up in the air. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to loosen the bolts on the coolant reservoir to level it a little bit. So let's see, I've got one of these guys over here, and we're going to reverse this guy real quick. Okay, I've used the quick grip to level out my coolant reservoir. That way no air gets trapped in the front of it. Looks like we're still holding just about 25.5, maybe 26 inches of mercury. I'm going to open this guy up. So we're going to stick our suction line down in here. It's important that this goes to the bottom of the tank, and it's also important that this goes constantly downward. This you'll just want to make sure it's out of the way and it doesn't flail around. So what we're going to do now is we're going to bleed this line up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this at full power, and then I'm going to gradually open up the other one until I see coolant coming up here. And once it gets to right here, I'm going to shut it off. We can now disconnect our air line. We have a vacuum on the system. We have no air in the feed line. And we're ready to go ahead and start filling. Let's go ahead and fill. We're just going to open this other valve. And you see the pressure starts going crazy. Now we just wait a little bit for it to finish. Meanwhile, I'll go ahead and explain the next steps. What we're going to end up doing is, the reason for the nose in the air is because air will get trapped towards the rear of the motor and the heater core lines over the top. It's important that we turn our heater on during this process, not so we can burp the heater core, that does nothing, but so you can feel how much heat is coming out of the heater core. When we initially start, we'll have 0 heat coming out at all. But then after we run this for a while, we should feel it coming out scalding hot. And that will be our indicator that the heater core is sufficiently burped. Now, after we finish all of this bleeding portion, looks like we've finished on that portion. We're going to use one of my funnels here. I have a Swan Lake from Amazon. It's just a burping funnel that we're going to sit on top. We're going to put very little fluid in it just so we can see it. We're going to run the car and allow the car to circulate so we can burp the last little bit out. Doing the vacuum bleed is not a guarantee that you get all of the air out of the system, because you have to understand that there's a finite amount of volume in here that cannot be vacuumed empty. The hoses may compress, and those are going to have close to zero amount of air in them, but the pipes and such, you can lower the pressure in them quite a bit, but you can't eliminate it. All right, so I'm going to verify that we've gotten all the coolant out of here possible. No, it looks like I may need to run another round. This thing, oh, I think it's curled up at the bottom. Let's do this again. So it looks like our window on our tank here is full. So we're going to go ahead and stop here. We're going to disconnect our air. We're going to open both valves and allow this to just drain back. All right, it appears as though I have just enough to where I can see the level here. So what we're going to do next is we're going to go ahead and start the car up. We're going to turn on our fan. So for me, I have my fan system, so I'm just gonna jumper the wire over here and turn the fan on manually. And then we're going to sit here, let it idle for a little bit till it gets a little warmer. Then we're going to sit here and hold it at somewhere between 3,000 and 4,000 RPM to try and get it to burp. Now it's important that you watch your level here, and it's important to get the fan on, because if we have an air bubble near the coolant temp sensor, it may not turn the fan on automatically at the correct time. And we want to make sure that we're watching from the driver's seat to see that this level doesn't get too high. Otherwise, we're going to need to come off of those revs and let it cool back down. The whole idea of holding the revs is that we get the momentum to the air bubbles to where they can make their way back to the coolant reservoir. It is not to get it up to temperature. However, getting it up to temperature will open the thermostat and allow some bubbles out there. But that's the easy part. So let's proceed. As you see right off the bat, we've emptied out the coolant reservoir, the overflow, the funnel. So we just want to keep an eye on the level inside of the tank and make sure it doesn't get too low either. Let's take a look. It still has fluid in it. I'm not going to worry about it, because when we start revving this, it's going to start pushing up. What happens is, when you start getting heat into the system, those air bubbles are going to expand a lot. When they expand a lot, it's going to push the level over here very far up. We don't want to get all those air bubbles excited and heated up and then start overflowing at the tank, because the air will expand a lot, whereas the coolant, it won't really expand because the coolant doesn't expand, but air does. That's another indicator when your level starts going up and down. All right, so we're just going to sit here and rev the crap out of it and watch it go up and down until it settles and our heater's hot. Oh, look at that. We're already getting some coolant back in the reservoir. You can see the levels already come back. So again, you can hear the fan is running. We're going to go ahead and start revving it. Notice the fluid level went really high, and then right when we hit about 196 coolant temp on the dash, I suppose that's about where the thermostat was opening over on this side, so it just started sucking all of it in, and you saw all the bubbles coming out. So we're gonna let it idle for a bit. We might let it cool off and then we'll repeat the process. But right now I'm already getting a lot of heat out of the heater, but it's not quite incinerating hot. We want it to be incinerating hot while it's idling. So I'm gonna go ahead and end the video here, but this is essentially the process. After this, obviously let it cool all the way down. Make sure that your fluid level is at the appropriate position in the window or on the level if you're using a stock tank. That's the whole process. Thanks for watching.